So Omid, you're now a Suffolk boy.
Yes.
Why have you made the decision to come here?
I love that people ask that question like as if it's the craziest decision anyone's ever made. Because what the hell are you doing in Suffolk? And actually, on our road, because we live in Ipswich, and on our road, it's mostly people from London who've just had enough of London. They've had enough of travelling from, central London just to West London and taking like an hour and a half. And it's actually just an hour and a bit to get to London from here. So it's beautiful. This park is wonderful, and Suffolk is one of the most coolest rocking places that we have. It's the most, I suppose, underrated part of the world in the UK for sure.
Yeah, I was going to ask him, what have you made of it? Because there's so much to Suffolk, isn't there? There's the coast and
there's so much to Suffolk. I think it's because as a football fan, I always loved the idea of Bobby Robson and Sir Alf Ramsey, being managers of Ipswich Town. Ipswich Town were a great football team in the late 70s and early 80s. I remember actually crying when Ipswich won the FA Cup in '78 because they were such seemingly underdogs, but they had a great team. So there's always this kind of, this mystical thing about Ipswich Town. I always wanted to come, and when you get here, you realise it's a really cool place, and I've just found it a delight from the moment we came.
Yeah, and you mentioned Ipswich Town. They've been to I think you said 3 games, even the League Cup game.
I've been to even the League Cup game.
So, what have you made of it? What have you made of the atmosphere?
I've been to more home games than most season ticket holders. What I make of it is the ground is amazing. There's a great atmosphere there, and the guy I go with, a guy called Jules, who's one of my neighbours, he thinks I'm quite mystical because I can always guess. He goes, "How many people do you think are here?" Because I reckon there's about 18,000. The first game was about 21,000. They said 21,000, and then the last game against MK Dons, he goes, "What do you think?" I reckon about 16. I said, no, about 18,400. He goes, and the attendance is 18,400. He goes, you're a mystic. You're some guy. Because I with those small crowds, I always know, and there's one end in the Bobby Robson stand where the fans are really intense, and I love that. I love it when football teams that really should be in the Premier League still keep that lovely core of supporters who really live and die for the club, and that you can't buy that.
Yeah, and like you said, you can really sense the history there, can't you? With the statues of Alf Ramsey, Sir Bobby Robson stand, etc.
Yes,
and it could be a massive club. Couldn't
it could be a massive club, and I got friendly with David Sheepshanks years ago, and all the. I mean, we lost Paul Mariner recently, and even the Kevin Beattie Foundation have got in touch with me. So there is something very legendary about that club, and I'm very very proud to go there, and I actually really enjoy it, and the football's actually very good.
And you've been made to feel welcome at Ipswich, and
yes.
in Suffolk in general, I take it. People have been really welcoming.
I do, and everyone's been suggesting places to go. We went to see where John Constable did the Haywain, which is just a few miles down the road. It's a very cultural, and it's a very, I suppose it feels like a great cultural place to be.
And how tough has it been, effectively not being able to work for 18 months? How tough has that been?
It has been. I remember on Twitter somebody during the European Championship said to me, he said, I bet England will lose to Czech Republic and Scotland will beat Croatia. I said, how much do you want to bet? He went, £5. And of course Scotland lost to Croatia. And he goes, I owe you £5. That was the only money I made in lockdown. I was really proud that I made £5. So it has been tough. But I think that there are a lot of people whose, their work, I'm sorry to get religious about it, but our work is our worship. And for comedians, it's very difficult not to perform. So we've been boring people on Zoom, we've been boring people, always trying to take over Zooms, trying to get a couple of gags in. If a couple of people come around, social distance, you just try and get up and dominate the conversation somehow. You just become that awful, needy man pleading for attention. So it has been difficult, but like I said, back on tour, and it's very exciting.
I mean, I used to remember watching your DVD, and you said you're a theatre ponce, so...
Yes, I'm a theatre ponce,
I do remember that. And how great is it to be back on stage? I mean, there must be nothing like it once you do finally get back.
Yeah, it is. And what's great is the audiences are really, they're really excited. But the thing is, it's changed now. The paradigm is such that because we've been living in lockdown and everything seems so important and meaningful, they only want meaningful discourse. The whole days of little chit-chat is gone. And that's the same with comedy. If you start off doing something meaningful, they like it and they like looking at each other. But then if you do silly, COVID variant jokes, people start heckling you. Like I was saying, I had a COVID variant. I had the Alan Titchmarsh variant, which was very mild, but I suddenly became very attractive to women of a certain age. And people say, "Is that it? Is that the best you've got?" So they're looking for a higher level of comedy now. So that's the challenge for comedians. That now that we've seen meaningful stuff, we've all been watching comedy digitally, and it's great that we're out watching it live because it's good for us physiologically, but I think the bar has changed, the paradigm has shifted, and we just have to, I suppose, do stuff that's a bit more meaningful.
Yeah, definitely. And one good thing about touring is you're going to see even more of East Anglia, because you're going to go across to Northampton and Milton Keynes, etc. Are you looking forward to that?
Milton Keynes, Northampton, I'm doing Cambridge, I'm doing Bury St Edmunds, Ipswich, and Norwich as well. Norwich with the Theatre Royal, it's an amazing place. I am looking forward to it, and they're historically really good audiences as well, I have to say. I mean, I'll never forget performing in Norwich. It's like as if they've never seen comedy before. I kept saying, I'm not this funny. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, fantastic. And away from the comedian stuff, you've also got a new game show. Well, not a new game show, but a second series of your game show.
Yes.
How good is that? It's going to be on ITV.
I always joke that, you know, I've moved to Ipswich because I've got no money. Because I'm doing daytime quiz shows. We moved to Ipswich. If we get a second series, I have to move to Lowestoft. And now we got the second series. It's fantastic. I think the best bit about it is being with the great British public. I'll pick that up. The best bit about doing it is you're with the great British public, and it's fantastic because we've got the most number of contestants, which are 9, and we have the most number of questions as well. And sometimes you ask a question like, who played James Bond in Quantum of Solace? And someone slaps the button and says, Craig David. And it's like, you can't beat that kind of answer. If you watch it, you'll see me kind of going half the time. And they keep saying you shouldn't be laughing at the contestants, but you know, you can't help it. The whole idea is a bit like a pub quiz. So we're trying to get on television the idea of just people, mates who have a laugh but take the quizzing very, very seriously. So I think on that level it works really well.
Yeah, funny. Let's finish with a bit of a challenge. You're known for your accents.
Yes.
Can you do a Suffolk accent? Have you nailed that one?
Well, the Suffolk accent it's not like West Country. West Country's like that. Everyone thinks I'm from Ipswich, but I think Ipswich is a little bit more Cockney as well. It's more. There's a little bit of West Country, but it's a little bit more Cockney as well. So, no.
Omid, thanks so much for doing that.
Thanks, man. Cheers.